What happens when a franchise that just conquered the NBA decides to gamble again and shake its core? The Boston Celtics shocked the league when they moved Drew Holiday to Portland and brought in Anfernee Simons, a player many thought would never actually wear green. The whispers at the time were relentless. Would Boston really keep him, or was he nothing more than a trade chip in a financial reset?
And then we're bringing in guys like Anfernee, who's been very, very good in the NBA in a different, environment. And now we're bringing him into an environment where, the expectations are a little different. And, he's an unbelievable player. And I think he will thrive in a situation like that. And we have, other guys.
I was super excited for the opportunity to come here and join a culture that's already been set, Simon said at Media Day. That's what I was excited about. Playing at the highest level, winning basketball. But the real story goes deeper. Simons is not just another scorer. He is a guard who has already proven he can explode for 30 on any given night. Yet his career has always been overshadowed by the chaos in Portland. With 39 games of 30 or more points under his belt, the numbers speak loudly. The bigger question is, what will those numbers mean inside a Celtics system that values efficiency, discipline, and adaptability above all? Joe Mazzulla has hinted at a different truth, one the critics have ignored. Defense, the area where Simons has been labeled as vulnerable, might not be his weakness at all. On defense, you're not as bad as people think you are, Mazzulla told him. Imagine the shock if Boston turns a supposed liability into a strength. And then there is the endorsement that truly matters. Jason Tatum, the face of the franchise, did not hesitate to back his new teammate. He's been very, very good in the NBA, and now we're bringing him into an environment where the expectations are different. He's an unbelievable player, and I think he'll thrive in a situation like this. That is not a casual compliment. That is a statement, a seal of approval that changes how fans and media will look at Simons moving forward. Even Brad Stevens, who rarely speaks in exaggerations, chose words that reveal how highly the front office values Simons. He is a guy that teams will legitimately be thinking about when they enter the game, right? That's a scouting reporter asterisks guy, right? You have to know him inside and out, because he's liable to go off. Translation: Boston did not bring him in by accident. He is not filler. He is a weapon. The 2025 offseason was not just about retooling. It was about survival. The second apron rules forced the Celtics to make choices that could alter the next decade of their franchise. Jaylen Brown's name appeared in whispers. Derek White's future was dissected. And even Hauser, the undrafted sniper who had quietly become one of the most efficient shooters in the league, was placed under the microscope. When Media Day arrived, Hauser did not hide. He faced the rumors directly. You try to block it out, but you really can't. To be honest with you, but I know it's part of the business. I was prepared for whatever. If I was gonna get shipped, great. I stayed, thankfully. I'm glad to be here. But even if I were shipped, I had no hard feelings here.
With everything that was going on around the roster.
Yeah, of course. You try to block it out, but you really can't, to be honest with you. But I know it's part of the business. I was prepared for whatever. If I was going to get shipped, great. I stayed, thankfully. Glad to be here. But even if I were shipped, I had no hard feelings here. They've given me an opportunity when nobody else did. They extended me. So they had to do what they had to do, and I understood it. But I'm glad I'm here, to say the least.
Gave me an opportunity when no one else did. They extended me. They had to do what they had to do, and I understood it. But I'm glad I'm here, to say the least. But here is the real story that no one is talking about. Hauser's not just a role player anymore. His deal, 4 years and $45 million, is not bench money. It is investment money. The front office believes his gravity on the perimeter changes the way defenses approach Boston stars. Think about it. Defenders glued to Hauser at the arc means more space for Brown to attack, more freedom for Tatum when he returns, and more opportunities for Derek White to orchestrate. And here is the shocking part. While everyone debates his trade value, there is a possibility that Hauser could evolve into something bigger than just a specialist. Look at the numbers. 41% from 3 on high volume is not accidental. Add to that his steady improvement on defense, where his anticipation and positioning have turned him from a liability into a neutral presence. and suddenly the label of one-dimensional shooter feels outdated. What if Boston is holding onto a player who has not even scratched the surface of his potential? This is where hope enters the equation. Every dynasty has players who defy expectations, who rise from obscurity to become crucial in defining eras. Hauser has the profile of that type of player. Unlikely beginnings, relentless work ethic, steady climb into relevance. Now the question is simple. Will Boston unleash him, or will the league force them to cash in? Fans should be asking, what if Sam Hauser is not just a shooter? What if his ceiling has been miscalculated all along? At Media Day, Boucher explained his decision, but his words left more intrigue than clarity.
Did you feel like this is a good situation for you here in Boston? And how did the discussion go over what your role might be here? Do you see yourself more as a 5 or perimeter player on this team? Who do you think that's going to be like?
I think it was more thinking about like where I'm at in my career, and I've been in Toronto for 7-8 years, and obviously we had a great year with a championship and all, but also years where we were not winning,
I think it was more thinking about where I'm at in my career. I've been in Toronto for 7 years. Obviously, we had a great year with a championship and all, but also years where we're not winning at all, and it impacted my time and playing and all that. I also feel like I still have a lot to give to the game, so I wanted to go somewhere where I felt like there's a winning culture, winning energy, and also felt like I wanted to see something different. I want to be able to show what I'm capable of doing in multiple ways in the game, but here is the hidden layer. Boston did not just sign him to be depth. With Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford and Luke Cornett gone, the Celtics' front court has been reshaped completely. On the surface, Neemias Queta and Xavier Tillman are the returning names. Yet Boucher is the wild card. He represents something that Boston has not had in years, a long, athletic forward who can switch across positions, stretch the floor, and play with a reckless energy that disrupts opponents. If unleashed correctly, he could be more than a patch. He could be a weapon, and it was not just Boucher chasing Boston. According to him, the Celtics front office had been circling his name for years. When I first came here and talked to Brad and all, they were all telling me how they wanted me for a few years already. So it felt good to be able to be in a position where I'm wanted, and I'm able to help, he revealed. That admission flips the narrative. Boston had a plan. They were waiting for the right moment to bring him in. The curiosity gap is clear. What did Brad Stevens and his staff see in Boucher that other teams overlooked? And then there is the hunger factor. After years of fluctuating roles in Toronto, Boucher made it clear that he wants responsibility. He wants the pressure. Also, with the way that this year is going, I think that's a lot of opportunities for me to be able to be on the court and show what I'm capable doing as a vet. And whatever position they put me in, this is where Celtics fans should lean forward. Because every championship contender needs one player who comes from nowhere, who reinvents himself in the right system, who provides the energy that others cannot. Could Chris Boucher be that guy? The fans should be asking themselves, what if Boston just stole a key contributor while the rest of the NBA was looking the other way? What if a single injury could trigger one of the most unexpected trades of the season? Fred VanVleet's setback has not only shaken Houston's confidence, but has also opened a window that Boston might be daring enough to climb through. The Rockets, desperate to keep their project alive, and the Celtics, always looking for the missing piece to extend their reign, suddenly find themselves circling the same storyline. VanVleet was supposed to be the stabilizer for Houston, a floor general, a champion, a veteran voice for a roster full of young talent. His absence now forces the Rockets into a dangerous reality. Do they wait and risk wasting another year of growth? Or do they move aggressively to acquire someone who can keep their momentum alive? That dilemma is exactly where the Celtics come in. Boston does not need to panic. They already have the most balanced roster in the league. But Brad Stevens has shown time and time again that he refuses to sit still when opportunity presents itself. A weakened Rockets team searching for answers could become a trade partner, and VanVleet's injury is the domino that changes the equation. Here is where it gets fascinating. Houston cannot afford to watch their season collapse. They need talent now, and Boston has both the assets and the leverage to test their desperation. Could Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, or even draft capital be part of a package that tilts the scales? More importantly, is Boston quietly positioning itself to either land a high-value veteran or create the flexibility to strike later in the season? And what about VanVleet himself? If Houston senses the injury will linger or limit him, would they dare to pivot and place him on the table? Imagine the shockwaves if Boston, a team already stacked with playmaking and shooting, suddenly added VanVleet to a backcourt that includes Derek White and Drew Holiday's legacy of impact. It sounds improbable, but the NBA has thrived on improbable twists, and this one cannot be ruled out. The curiosity gap here is enormous. Are the Celtics preparing to take advantage of Houston's vulnerability, or are they simply waiting for the right moment to strike a deal that no one sees coming? What if Stevens is not just reacting, but orchestrating, using VanVleet's injury as the spark to create an entirely new market for Boston's surplus pieces?